Chazal teach us, it's Gemara in Shabbos, Kol Yisrael b'nei Malachim. Every single Jewish person is a child of a king. And we find that has halachic ramifications about using certain oils on Shabbos that are very, very expensive, using rose oil, which is a very expensive oil. Only kings use it, but the Jewish people are like the children of kings. And if we take this to the nth degree, if we take this philosophy to the nth degree, that every single Jewish person is a Ben Melech, we know that if you're in the presence of the son of a king, a person is very, very careful. And it's interesting that Chazal use the terminology, the description of Ben Melech. There's a difference between a Melech and between a Ben Melech. A Melech is very scary, is very awesome. Right? As my friend Nati, who is the son of an African king, wrote once in an article that when people would come to see his father, who was quite short, they would come in on their knees because he had to be shorter than the king. And if you moved your nose in a way that he didn't like, then you were sent to death. So being in front of a king is a very difficult experience. But when you're with a Ben Melech, it's an interesting. You don't have that same level of fear. It's much more comfortable. It's much more calm. But you still have a very, very great sense of dignity of the person that you're talking to. Number one, because of their status, and number two, you know that eventually they're going to be king, and that gives you a very, very special relationship. On one hand, you don't have that tremendous awe and fear. On the other hand, you have a very great level of respect. And Chazal tell us this is the attitude that we're meant to have when we're dealing with another Jew. Kol Yisrael b'nei Malachim. One of the greatest problems we have in a relationship with other people is that sense of dignity and respect and honor. Right? To really have tremendous, tremendous honor, especially when it comes to our family, our parents, our children, our spouse, whoever it might be. Right? The higher the level of respect and dignity, the more beautiful and the more honorable the relationship is going to be. As Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach said about himself, he said, my wife and I, we didn't have a fight in 50 years. We lived according to the Torah. When he walked into the house, he would brush off his hat because the Shekhinah was there. Rosh Shlomo Zalman Auerbach lived with the reality that his wife was the Shekhinah. And he respected and conversed and communicated with his wife like he was talking to the Shekhinah. When you have that respect, when you have that dignity, then your whole essence of your relationship is going to be very, very different. You're not going to fight. You're going to be very careful how the words come out of your mouth. Because while you're not afraid that you're going to die now, but you know that this person is eventually going to become the king or queen. And that long-term reality is going to make you very, very careful. And this is something that our sages, Chazal, want us to instill within our hearts. Right? And every single Jew we come in contact with, no matter who they are, no matter what their job is, no matter what their level of Torah understanding or Torah observance is, they're all a Ben Melech. Right? They're all a Ben Melech. And everybody who's a Ben Melech, you have to treat very, 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 very carefully. And this is what I understood, that when the Meron tragedy took place, or even now, very soon, will be the 25th of Cheshvan. It might have passed already by the time the shir is aired, but it's a couple of days. It'll be the 25th of Cheshvan, the day that the Har Nof massacre took place and the Kedoshim were killed. What does Hashem want from us? What is Hashem telling us when these things happen? Right? So Rav Gershon Edelstein said, Hashem is telling us that we have to change our interaction and relationship with other people. We have to realize that nobody ever does anything bad to us. Nobody ever hurts us. Nothing bad ever comes from another person. If somebody caused us financial loss or emotional hardship or this, it's coming from a different place. It's coming from Shemaim. It's just they were chosen to be the shluchim. Right? Again, it doesn't mean that you have to have a close relationship with these people because you don't want to be hurt. But you shouldn't feel even the slightest level, right? This is a very high madrega, even the slightest level of anger or upsetness with this person. And when you have that, then when you have that relationship, that everybody's a Ben Melech, if a guy smashes into your car, then you might be very upset. But if the door opens up and it's the chauffeur of the Crown Prince of England or any other country for that matter, then your whole attitude changes. Your whole attitude changes. So this is the reality that Chazal want us to come to. Kol Yisrael b'nei Malachim. Every single Jew to realize. And how do you do that? You do that by realizing that every single Jew has this neshama, and they're a chelik elam kaimal. And just like Rosh Zalman was able to reach that understanding that his spouse is the Shekhinah, and that Hashem is communicating to him through his spouse, that's the way Bezer Anpin, in a small way, we're supposed to connect with every single Jew. Every single Jew is the son of is a Ben Melech, is the son of a king. So Hashem should give us the greatest siyata d'shmaya, because this is a hard request that's being made of us. But if you do it, it's incredible. Your life will be so much better. You'll be living in Olam Haba in this world, as we say every day. L'man yirbi make. You'll have Yimei Hashemayim, the days of heaven, al aretz, on earth, because you'll be surrounded by children of kings. Yeah, and the truth is, the big advantage of being surrounded by the children of kings is that the more you do for a king's children, the more the king will be happy with you, right? So we have an opportunity to be mahane, to give pleasure to the king through his children, right? I'm sure that if you want to get King Charles happy, then the way to do it is through William or any of the other children of the king, right? By making them happy, the king becomes very, very happy. That's the greatest way to have the correct impact on the king. Hashem should have all of us to reach this very elevated level, very as much as we can, and in doing so, our lives will be so much better. Amen. Cain. T.A.